My fellow Decepticons, it is I, Starscreamslot here, coming back at you today with another video, and today we are taking a look at the high-grade Witch from Mercury Ariel and the high-grade Gundam Wing Leo, which is a custom on my part, but that's besides the point. Anyways, I'm back with another video for you all today. I don't have too much to say, other than let's hope I can keep my consistent schedule again. Sorry about last week, I was out of town. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say, other than let's get right into it, shall we? And let's start with Leo, because he's kind of my least favorite of these two kits. Even though I like both kits pretty well, actually. With the paint, with the paint and details on this guy, you can tell that he's got a bit of a black wash on him and some gray marks here and there, which I did to customize this guy a little bit, because without it he kind of looked really plain in my opinion. He kind of needed that extra sauce, which I gave it to him. I gave him the sauce that he needed, and now he looks great. I do really like the shade of green used on the Leo. I mean, with the black wash on mine, it kind of looks a bit darker, but you know, it's still a good shade of green in my opinion. Green is one of my favorite colors. I like the clear visor thing. I have not watched Gundam Wing in a while, and by a while I mean like half a year. But he still looks good. He's got this nice looking shield, which I added a good bit more of the black wash onto, kind of because I felt like he needed it. Because it is a shield, it's going to be taking the brunt of the dirt, I felt like, you know. And also on the legs, I felt like there would be a nice heavy coat that would look good, which it does. Now, I have yet to do panel lining at all yet, because it's just not something I've really got around to doing. But yeah, you're gonna get to it eventually. In terms of details otherwise, you know, aside from the stuff that I've added, he's kind of plain. I mean, that is kind of what high grades are, you know. I'm not expecting a real grade amount of detail on them, but it looks good, you know. Another thing that I did enjoy about this guy was the build didn't take super long. I remember Ariel, I mean, I bought both of these when I was kind of new into Gunpla, so I wasn't the best at building yet. But I remember Ariel taking 3-4-ish hours. He only took like an hour and a half. I watched all of Robot Jocks in the span of building this guy, which shout out to you if you understand that reference. But there are a couple of bad things about this guy. One thing that I don't like is how loose a lot of the joints are. I mean, just look at that. This leg right here, both of these legs actually wobble like crazy. You saw how this arm kind of popped off with no real issue. This one's got more hold to it, which is nice, but you know, it's annoying the fact that I have to deal with that. I don't really like that at all. But that is kind of the main thing, because he kind of can't stand sometimes. Like, I'll set him down. He's gonna stand up fine now because YouTube, but I'll stand him up nice and straight or whatever, and he'll just fall over like that. See, his ankles suck. They are on some of the weakest joints I've ever seen in my entire collecting career, even worse than Tarn, which is saying a lot. But you know, these are all problems that are very easily fixable. I just don't have the tools to do so, at least not yet. But it's just something annoying that I feel is worth mentioning. I don't know if other people's copies of this kit are like that, but it certainly is with mine. And that's kind of about all I have to say with him in terms of paint and detail wise. All the paint I added on myself. You don't actually have to paint this guy. There were no stickers, which actually is a very big positive, as I do not like stickers at all. And time for a quick look at the accessory. You can see he's got this nice like machine gun type deal with a canister that he can hold. He can like dual wield this thing, both hands I mean. Added a little bit of that gray wash along the side of the gun, as you can see. And I think it looks good. You know, I think that added that nice extra little bit of, you know, detail. Other than that, it's a kind of plain black gun, you know. Nothing special, nothing crazy. Kind of like a Star Wars gun, I guess. Before I did get into the articulation, I did just want to point out that the gun, you just slide it in. You don't got to do anything crazy. I mean, if you want him to use both hands on the gun, you're going to have to... Oh, and there goes his arm. You know, that makes it easier for me. You want to take off this back part. Right here. This, I got big hands. That part right there. And you just slot the gun, or the canister holder part, into his hand. Make sure his arm doesn't friggin' fall off. And, okay. You just put that part back on, and there you go. He's holding it with both hands. I think this looks pretty cool. I prefer the one-handed look, but, you know. Okay. Just take this off. This gets kind of annoying, especially on camera. But, you know. Yeah, I mean, this guy, he falls over a lot, but one thing I really do like about Gunpla is that the parts and everything, they're durable, you know, they can take a good couple of falls, which, you know, very awesome. Quick articulation, though. Let's go through that. There is technically a ball joint in the head, but because of the design of the head with this thing right there, you're not really going to get any movement. I mean, you could lift his head up a little bit, so you do get something, but it's barely there at all. Arm all the way around, goes out that far. 360 bicep rotation. Okay. Double jointed elbow, wrist rotation, and ball joint action. Torso is also kind of loose, but you can get a bit of a crunch, but then, you know. Rotation at the top. There's another ball joint in here, which does rotate a little bit. And then there's this ball joint right here, which rotates a little bit, and there's that joint down there, which also rotates. It doesn't really add anything crazy. It's just, you know, not a whole lot of side to side. It's about as good as you're gonna get. The hip skirts move. These front parts of the hip skirts move. These parts rotate, and nothing at the back. So you can kick forwards about that far. I already kind of felt it colliding with the, about that far-ish. And this far back, nothing crazy. Double joint at the knee, get some nice kicks. And the ankle is on a ball joint. Pretty weak ball joint though. You can get some pivots. Toes up, toes down, you know, full all the way around. This armor piece is also on a ball joint. And, you know, it kind of comes off pretty easy too, but, you know, it just gets out of the way for foot movement. So all in all, articulation-wise, and just in general, I like this guy. Nothing crazy, but I think he's good enough. Good for a grunt. Not my favorite grunt, because I still have a couple of other grunt suits, which they are my favorites. I like this guy. I think he's pretty darn good. Size comparison times, though. We have the high-grade Zagok, Universal Zagok, and here is Earthrise Starscream as size comparisons. And, you know, he's kind of on the smaller end, especially for mobile suits. And the Zagok just kind of towers over him, which, you know, that's pretty cool. But, I mean, yeah, that's the Leo. Plain, simple, kind of annoying, but, you know, that's the Leo for you. But Ariel, oh, I love this kit so much. This is one of my favorite kits in my collection, and I own a lot of model kits. I've been going pretty crazy over this in my absence. But Ariel is just really nice. Looking at all the colors, you can see it's nice, vibrant blues and whites. You know, everything is, you know, just looks super cool. There's nice yellow and red accents here and there. And, you know, the grays too also add a little bit of that kind of poppiness. I love the, oh, what was the word? The permit scores right here look very cool. And there's a little bit in the head too, if it would focus. It's under some clear plastic, so you know. And overall, this kit, really nice. It's also really solid, you know. It's a pretty good shaking, and only this wrist is moving because it's got the gun in her hands, which the gun, let's just get that out of the way real quick, looks super cool. It's a nice kind of future-y space vibe type deal, which is what I like about Witch from Mercury, which is my favorite Gundam anime, by the way. You take it off by her hands, or putting it back on the hands, just by separating these two pieces, as you would with Leo, I guess. And just a solid looking gun, you know. It was just good looking. There's not too much else to say. And continuing with accessories, you get this piece. You just slot in, and you get like the gun sortie action that Ariel does. It was only a couple of times, if I remember correctly. I mean, I'm not finished with Witch from Mercury yet, but I'm like halfway done, a little more than halfway. And it wouldn't. Oh, and there she goes. It wouldn't be a Gundam without some beam saber action. You get 2 beam sabers, well, 2 handles, I suppose. 4 beam sabers. You just slot them in the hands, like so. Get 2 of them. If I can get her to hold her. There you go. And you get 2 beam sabers. Now, I'm pretty sure that these are supposed to be green, so I don't know why they chose blue as the colors. But I like the blue a lot. I mean, it could just be the rebuild version of Ariel, which had the green beam sabers, but I'm pretty sure regular Ariel had the green beam sabers as well. But that's Ariel with their beam sabers attached. I don't usually display Ariel with both beam sabers because I feel like that's a little excessive. Hell, I don't even display them with one of them. I prefer to have the beam sabers just kind of in the backpack. But yeah, you know, displaying Ariel with the beam sabers does not look bad at all. Definitely, she looks badass. Get these out of the way for a second. And Ariel does also come with a shield, but it's all disassembled right now because that's what makes up all this stuff, all these extra accessory bits on Ariel's body. You can take them all off, like so. I think Ariel looks cooler with these pieces on. So, ooh, a little stuck. So I prefer to keep those pieces on. I don't usually prefer to have the shield equipped, but you know, Ariel looks good no matter what. And another quick thing before I assemble the shield is that the build on Ariel was really nice. I mentioned how it took me like 2.5 hours-ish to build Ariel, and it was just a joy kind of all the way around. I think the only part that I actively like kind of messed up on was the knee, which I put in backwards like twice, so I had to go in and just pry them out and do it again, which is always annoying, but never a deal breaker. It's not like I actually broke the thing. But yeah, just a very solid and enjoyable build. Ooh. And because I don't remember how to build the shield right now, with the power of video editing, I can. That's probably enough. That probably did it. Anyways, this is the shield fully assembled. It's good looking, you know. You just slot it in either of those. I don't know what the freak. Put it in the arm, and yeah, look at that. That is a pretty good looking shield, if I do say so myself. Definitely one of my favorites among all my model kits. But you know, I prefer her without the shield. I think the design just looks a whole lot nicer with the shield not attached. But as we do articulation real quick, I'll just do it without the extra piece, the gun bits on. Anyways, the head is on a very expressive neck and bulge joint at the head, so you can get a nice looking up poses, looking down, some side to side, get some rotation in here. It goes full 360. And get some action at the neck. Boom, boom, boom. There was also a couple of stickers in this kit, which I didn't entirely mind. The ones right here on the thighs were a bit annoying, so I just took them off. It's not the worst thing ever, but you know. The shoulders, there are butterfly joints, so you can get a butterfly. Shoulders go all the way around. This lifts up, so you can lift the arm all the way up. There is a bicep rotation, double bend at the elbow, wrist rotation. Now, from what I understand, there's like 2 different joints, I guess, in like the waist. There's one that does this, but there's also something else up here that moves. Now, it was probably my fault, or you know, it's just the kit. But you're not getting very much upper waist movement. You're not gonna get any arching backs. You get a full rotation. Ooh, whatever. Get the arms out of the way. These parts move, and this part moves. Nothing at the back. So you can kick forwards about that far without really pushing it. And you move it back about that far. Knee bends, double joint, but it only gets to a little more than 90, maybe 100 degrees. No ankle pivot, which is kind of annoying, but you do get some, oop, that's too far. You do get some solid heel up, down. You do get a little toe movement, which it does pivot. It like pivots at the heel though. And that's Ariel's articulation for you. A very, very mobile suit, if you will. I'm gonna make that joke so many times. It's a very mobile kit. You can definitely get a lot of cool poses. I like posing Ariel up on this stand, which was not included. It came with a different kit. But I digress. And some quick size comparisons. Again, like an HGUC Zagok, Earthrise Starscream, and there's this half build real grade RX 78 2.0. And that was my review of the high grade Ariel and Leo from Mobile Suit Gundam. Yeah, all in all, I really do like both of these figures, with Ariel being one of my favorite model kits that I own, which is a lot, and is my favorite design of any Gundam. And the Leo, although not being as good as some of my other grunt suits or any of my favorite suits or kits in general, I liked it a lot. I really liked the paint that I added to it. I think that really elevated him for me, and I definitely have worse. But yeah, that's about all I have to say. If you like the video, like the video. If you're not already, please subscribe and join my Discord server if you haven't already. And yeah, that'll be all from me. Peace.